Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez clown Shakur Stevenson for his performance, and the fact that nobody's really watching Shakur Stevenson. When Teofimo was asked about if he saw Shakur's fight, he said, nobody's watching that shit. And it was kind of funny to hear because obviously we saw Ryan Garcia also go on social media, go on Twitter and say stuff like, was Shakur's fight really that boring? And then he went on to say stuff about Tim Bradley and how Tim Bradley is honestly just on his knees about Shakur Stevenson and stuff like that, being a little bit disrespectful towards Tim Bradley. And obviously, we know Tim Bradley and Ryan Garcia, they don't really like each other, this and that. Especially after the Austrian, after Ryan Garcia's performance against Devin Haney, it was just all a mess. But just not very happy with Shakur Stevenson. Obviously, I like Shakur, don't get me wrong. You know, he's a Jersey kid, and I'm also a Jersey kid, but I want to see him do great things. I always said that, you know, he was going to be the one to potentially give Tank, you know, that fight where, you know, he might lose. He might give Tank his first loss. But from the performances I've seen recently out of both fighters, that version of Shakur Stevenson, he can't beat Tank. But he has to fix some things up because he's going to have to fight Tank in such a way where he has a little bit of pop. He has to get that respect from Tank, because if not, I see it being an easy night for Tank to an extent. You know, I'm not saying it's an easy fight, period, but if we don't get that best version of Shakur Stevenson, I have a feeling that no matter what, Tank's firepower is going to be the story of the fight. So there's a lot that we have to consider in this fight. I think it's going to be a great fight regardless. It's one of those fights that we need to see no matter what. And I don't know how true the Lomachenko situation is. Coach Kenny, you know, Gervonta's coach, was saying stuff like, oh, Lomachenko's passing on the Tank fight, so we're going to go in the direction of Shakur, stuff like that. I don't know how true that is. I hope it's not the case. I hope he's just trolling, because I honestly want to see Tank and Shakur, but I more so want to see Tank and Lomachenko because I think it's a more exciting fight. Me, selfishly, as a fan of the sport, somebody who wants to see an exciting fight, I'd love to see Lomachenko and Tank. Do I think Lomachenko beats Tank? I don't at this point in his career. I think years back it would have been a different fight, but now at this point in Tank's career, I think he's in his prime. I think he's as confident as he's ever been, and I think that he's the best version of himself right now. So, you know, I always say that you can't get a fight, you know, when it's these passing of the torch fights, you can't get it when they're at their best, to be honest. It's not, or it rarely is a scenario where you get the best version of the older fighter and you get the best version of the younger fighter. Someone's going to be too old and someone's going to be too young. That's how these fights are. But I also think that, you know, for Lomachenko, if I'm matchmaking for Lomachenko, I would go for that Shakur fight first before I go for the Tank fight, honestly. And it's going to be hard because, you know, now we know that Shakur Stevenson's a free agent, but if Top Rank could somehow convince Shakur to stay, I don't know how burnt that bridge is, because obviously Shakur wore that shirt about saying, you know, Lomachenko's being saved by Bob Arum, this and that, from an ass whooping, and that's fine, that's all funny and stuff like that, but Shakur Stevenson should ultimately know that, you know, you can't count your chickens before they hatch, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't know. I don't know if a promoter is going to offer Shakur the money that he's looking for. I don't know if Shakur is going to be able to sell him as a superstar, himself as a superstar. It's just, you know, it was very obvious and clear in the virality of the fans walking out of the arena for Shakur's fight that he may not be that superstar. And I hate to say it because obviously you guys know that I'm a fan of Shakur Stevenson. I like watching him fight. I would have liked to see, not necessarily a stoppage. A stoppage would have been great, but I would have liked to see a little bit more punishment, something that shows us that, you know, Tank would have something to worry about right now after both of their performances. Like I said before, I can't help but favor Tank in that fight. He's got to be the favorite because he's shown us more. He's shown us more dominance in the ring. He showed us the brutality of the sport that the fans love. And even putting that fan stuff aside, despite the fact that, you know, everybody comes to see Tank, if you look at it just straight up, I see Tank's power just being the deciding factor in that fight. As good as Shakur is, 36 minutes is a long time to avoid a big shot from Tank. So I have Tank right now for sure, but still a good fight, still a close fight for me. It's definitely not 50-50 for me right now, especially after those those 2 performances. I think we got the best version of Tank. I keep saying, you know, and maybe this is a matchmaking thing, but with Tank's performances, we constantly see him getting better and better. And Shakur has been more of a rocky and less, you know, progressive growth than you know, we've seen with Tank. And that's just me being real. You know, I'm not trying to be a hater on Shakur Stevenson. I know he's talented, but his performances, I feel like, haven't been his best, and he has another gear that he could switch to, or maybe he doesn't, because honestly in that fight you got to show me that, you know, you're a killer. He didn't show me that he was a killer in that fight against Artem Kharnatounian. He showed me that he's willing to put on a clinic, but when things get tough, I'm not sure how he's going to fare. Is he going to try to do the same stuff and just be technical with it, or does he also know how to fight? You know, does he know how to get mean? Does he know how to get rugged like a guy like Terrence Crawford does? And I've always been saying Shakur Stevenson, he needs to listen to his corner a little bit more. He likes to do his own thing, kind of ignores what his grandfather's saying I'm going to stop him, this and that, when his grandfather's telling him to put his combinations together. That's something I just didn't like. I think he has to get someone in the corner who he's going to respect. If this is going to continue to be the dynamic that he has with his trainer, his grandfather, then I don't think it's going to lead him to success. I think get someone like Bud Crawford in there, get someone like Andre Ward in there, who you're going to respect and listen to, and not answer back when they're trying to give you instructions in the corner. You should be listening and not rebuttaling and having your own comebacks and resisting the advice that your trainer is trying to give you. That's something that I think is a concern for me when it comes to Shakur Stevenson fighting the best of the best, and that's Tank Davis. I think he beats basically everybody else at 35, and at 40 probably beats a lot of guys at 42. I think him and Devin Haney's still a very good fight, but we got to see him and Tank at 35 before anything else, in my opinion. While they're still there, while they're still the 2 best guys in the division, I think we got to see that. Throw Lomachenko where you want, but that's definitely the fight I want to see. As far as Ryan Garcia is concerned, he obviously gets in Shakur Stevenson's head, and I think that Shakur needs to chill out with the social media. Just ignore it. I feel like he's going after every person that has something critical to say about him or his performances, and he's taking it very personally. I think, you know, be mature about it, show a little bit more maturity, get off of social media. You seem to have a temper, you seem to have a sense of pride that, you know, I think is very necessary in the sport, but don't use it on stuff that's not going to make you a better fighter or a better person. And I think that right now, him on social media is showing his true colors, that he's not that mature yet, that he doesn't know when to take responsibility. He said that he has to do stuff like cut off the ring and work on that, get back in the gym, this and that, but also, you know, work on yourself as a person. I think the correlation between how you are as a person and how you conduct yourself in the ring is pretty parallel. So if he can't focus on the sport and ignore all the distractions on social media, ignore all the memes, all the people clowning him about his performances, then how is he supposed to concentrate? How is he supposed to get the best version of himself? Yeah, you can use it as motivation, but why not actually get in the gym and just forget about it? Stop talking about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this to Tank, I'm going to prove this to the world. We've heard you say that 100 times. Now it's time for you to back it up in your performances. And honestly, against Artem Kharnatounian, the reason why I wasn't that satisfied with that performance is because inevitably I'm thinking about what's next. I'm thinking about how does he square off and match up against the best in the division, and that's Tank. And for me, that performance wasn't indicative of the fact that, you know, maybe he could pull it off. But for me, right now, I have to give it to Tank. I think that Tank is just too powerful right now, and I think people overlook the fact that, you know, it's not just the power, it's not just his strength and how exciting he is that wins him the fight. I'm separating that. I'm separating how he makes the fans feel. I'm putting that all to the side. I understand that this isn't just about power. This is about IQ as well, but I'm also, I take into account the body language. For me, body language is important. When you're going back to your corner and throwing your hands up and saying like, this guy doesn't want to fight, I'm gonna stop this guy, I'm gonna stop this guy, and you're not listening to your coach, you're not listening to the instructions that he's giving to you, that's something that I'm concerned about when it comes to Shakur Stevenson. I think he's got to take some more accountability and say, hey man, it wasn't my best performance. Maybe I won basically every single round, but I could have got him out of there, and, you know, I'm gonna make the changes, this and that. But hold accountability, be an adult, show maturity, show growth, and do it in the ring. Stop talking about you're gonna do this, do that. Work on yourself in the gym, and then show it through your fights with the gloves on and, you know, stop all the talking. That's just my opinion, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. It's easy for me to say, but I have, you know, high expectations and I hold Shakur to a high standard, so I really want to see him have those best performances, you know, that he can. I just think he could have turned it up a notch that he just didn't. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the confidence, or maybe it's, you know, he doesn't have that killer dog in him, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he still possesses all the attributes to beat a guy like Tank Davis, and he might be the only one that can do it. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
That's going to do it for another Naz Fight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.